All right, so we've seen a half of football. What do you think so far?
You know what? Not to talk about Kelvin, but Derek is he's different than what I thought initially. I thought he was just a big guy coming in, just big and abusing everybody. But he has some good feet. I think he has some good feet. I like for Kelvin just to hit it, just to go. And I don't know if he's he wants to win. He's a competitor, and I don't know if he's the emotions, the game, the level of the game. But I think some good things are going to happen. They'll have something pop, get the ball back here after half.
14-6 now. Kelvin in these big games, I mean, he's done the camps and stuff on ESPN, but he's never actually played a game, on ESPN. I mean, do you think he came into this hyped up, too hyped up? Do you think he's the type that'll rise to that challenge?
You know what? I think because they've appeared in 2 state championship games, so this is a big game. And the ESPN thing, I don't think he's too hyped up. He knew the state football, the state games, championship games were going to be televised, and he's naturally competitive. He was ready for the game. It's his birthday, so a little added motivation there. But I think he'll be fine. I think they're going to find something that's going to work, so he can get rolling, and I think he'll be okay.
What do you think of the overall scene here at Yulee High? They say it seats about 3,000, but I'd say maybe 4,500, maybe 5,000 people could be here.
This is big. I mean, just the area, North Florida, Yulee, it is big for the fans. People came from a lot of different places, Georgia, on Twitter, from South Florida. I mean, so it's good. And ESPN, I think they've created a monster by selecting certain games and certain matchups. Who would have known Derek was going to go out and break Emmett's record too? So those type things just made for a better matchup, and this is what we have tonight.
Think back to your playing days at Glade Central. What was the biggest kind of atmosphere that you remember?
Every week. Every week. It doesn't matter. It was every single week.
State games, were they on?
No, I didn't play a state game. I didn't play any state game. The closest I got was versus Lake Wells, a kid by the name of Ronnie Daniels, you probably know, good baseball guy, baseball player. But I thought we played big games, every week, considering the area, man. It was always a matchup.
When you watch Kelvin, I mean, obviously being his dad is, one experience of watching him, and wanting him to do well, but as a pro running back, I mean, what do you can you separate those two, watching him as, like a running back's coach and watching him as a dad?
I only know one way to watch the position. I just know one way to, evaluate. And I won't touch him. Running back is a position where I think 90% of it is all natural instinct, and you kind of let him go and be natural. But I try and correct his bad habits or tendencies. So from that standpoint, I critique him like a running back coach because I want the best for him.
He's obviously produced so much in high school. What do you think he has to work on at the next level? We see, Coach Will Muschamp right over there, obviously, getting a good evaluation tonight. What do you think he has to work on for the next level?
You know what? Just sharpen up his game. Just sharpen up every aspect. Naturally, he's competitive, and he has the tools. But you want to work your craft as often as you can, and just try to better every part. I don't want to say one specific area because I don't see much weakness. But if I had to say one in particular, it would be he has to learn how to not be just a righty. I told him he needs to learn how to carry the ball in his left sometime and work that other stiff arm, work your strong hand, and not just become one arm dominant. So I think that's really one thing I would focus on or emphasize, but with not a lot of pressure though, because I don't want him to start fumbling. You have to carry it with the arm that you're most comfortable. But in finding tendencies, that's one tendency that I did notice. Other than that, I think he's fine.
When you were in the pros, did you switch off equal hands?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. You have to get good at it. Not everybody does. But I can tell you, I know which hand dominant I am, but the other teams will never know. They'll never know.
I won't ask.
No one. I was a lefty.
You were.
I'm right-handed, but I was a lefty. That was, but when I know I needed to take off and run faster, I put it in my left hand. Didn't matter the sideline. But when I would be in the open, I would always shift it to the left side.
Obviously, this weekend is a big weekend for you being up here in Jacksonville. What are your thoughts on being inducted into the Pride of the Jaguars?
I get tongue-tied, but it's amazing. I think it's amazing. But more importantly for me, just being able to share that with the city of Belgrade here in Jacksonville. But the kids in Belgrade, I want them to be able to feel that this is possible for them too. I want to be able to partner with the team and be able to charter, a bus to get the kids from the Belgrade community up so they can see the name, transparency, and they can feel that anything is attainable. So, and that's what I want. That's what it means to me.
How good does that make you feel knowing that, kind of Kelvin is at the point in his career, obviously he's still in high school, but he is at the point where kids are starting to look up to him, and kind of want to do what he does, and, breaking the state record and things like that. How does that make you feel as a dad?
It's great because he's a humble kid. You've interviewed him numerous amounts of times, and you get the same Kelvin. So he's a humble kid, borderline, extreme confidence, but that's just his nature. But he's yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am all day. And I think he's a good kid for other kids to look up to.
Does that kind of...
But he's still a kid.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I mean, does that, when you were coming out of high school, did you have that kind of a little bit more brash, a little bit more, confidence?
You know what, I had a little bit more confident, but not as much as he has, I think, because I had to experience it. And then once it got going, I could say, okay, this is nothing. So I always thought worst case scenario and thought the worst. So I didn't always feel as confident in my abilities until I actually got to the game. I had some confidence, but it skyrocketed once I knew I saw weakness. It was, hey, smell blood, you go. Yeah, nothing can stop you.
But in fairness to Kelvin, you didn't have the Twitter and the Facebook, and you couldn't put those thoughts that you have out there for the world,
And that's another thing, the exposure. But we've discussed it, and when he steps on campus, there's going to be time to focus, and that stuff has to be secondary because college is tough. It can be a great experience. It can be a great experience, but it's it's tough. It's a lot of responsibilities, and I think those things that might hinder him, and kind of impede his progress a little bit. The distractions is what I'm trying to say. So we want to try to minimize the best we can.
Hey man.
Hey, man.
Thank you very much.